Hello again. My name is Lew White, and I have a few videos up on YouTube, and we like to get together with a new video every once in a while. This one's kind of interesting. It's about the attack on the week. The 7-day week is under attack. It seems like not just from false teachings, but officially. There's a global organization that's actually attacking the sequence of days. And even though they've been the same regular 7 days, numbering 1 through 7, throughout all history, but also in every place and time. They've been the same 7 days all over the earth since the flood, and people are trying to mess with that. And that's not good. Anyway, I wanted to show you this thing that you saw popping up at the beginning of the video. That's this tract, which you can download for free at torazone.net, Changing Time. And it's a 4-page tract. If you print it on one piece of paper, this would be page 2, page 3, and the back. And this is the organization right here that we're going to be briefly discussing. It's called the ISO, and they're in Geneva, Switzerland. And they have it's an order, one of their orders that it's called the ISO 8601. I think that's what it is. Yes. And it's reshuffling the numbering of the days of the week. The numbering of the days of the week. I think this AI on my desk, it's always listening. And it answers questions for me sometimes, and I'd like to see what it answers here. And I hope you can hear what she says. Well, it's not really a she, it's just a robot. Alexa, when is the first day of the week?
According to the International Standard ISO 8601, Monday is considered the first day of the week. However, in some countries like the United States, Sunday is often treated as the first day of the week.
The idea that the first day of the week starts at sunset after the Sabbath ends. The first day of the week begins. And that is also the week of his resurrection. It was the first day of the week, because that was first fruits. First fruits during matzah always occurs on the morning after the weekly Sabbath. That's just the way it is. It's been that way since the beginning. It's given that way. Leviticus chapter 23 and Deuteronomy 16. It's talking about this. Well, anyway, to get this, and the whole problem started to be really serious in the 4th century. The Edict of Constantine. And that is something I'd like to read to you. Quote, on the venerable day of the sun, let the magistrates and people residing in cities rest, and let all workshops be closed. In the country, however, persons engaged in agriculture may freely and lawfully continue their pursuits, because it often happens that another day is not so suitable for grain sowing or for vine planting, lest by neglecting the proper moment for such operations, the bounty of heaven should be lost. Unquote. Now, this was an edict issued by the power of the Emperor Constantine on March 7th in the year 321 CE. Violation carried the death penalty if you did not rest on the first day of the week. And this track has quotes like that, but it tells you the origins of things. And There's other things in here that I could probably point out, but I'd like to keep this real brief and just recommend that you download this free tract. And you can watch it digitally and print it out, share it in email as a PDF. That's what it is. You get this as a digital format PDF. Actually, PDF stands for Portable Document File. So you get all these pictures and things in order. I do want to mention one thing on the front page of this tract. And this is what the Creator said. And I'm going to contrast that with what the Council of Laodicea said. The Creator said, 6 days work is done, and on the 7th day is a Shabbat of rest, set apart to Yahuwah. Everyone doing work on the Shabbat day shall certainly be put to death, and the children of Yisrael shall guard the Shabbat, to observe the Shabbat throughout their generations as an everlasting covenant between me and the children of Yisrael. It is a sign forever. For in 6 days Yahuwah made the heavens and the earth, and the 7th day he rested and was refreshed. Now that's Exodus or Shemot 31 verses 15 through 17. The 7th day is the first day of Yahuwah's appointed times. Leviticus 23 verse 3. And it is the everlasting sign between Yahuwah and his people. Now the Council of Laodicea in around 370 said this, quote, Christians should not Judaize and should not be idle on the Sabbath, but should work on that day. They should, however, particularly reverence the Lord's day, and if possible, not work on it, because they are Christians. That's the Council of Laodicea, Canon 29, in around 365 CE. And these words of men specify the Sabbath is to be a day of work and to reverence the Lord's day, also known as the day of the sun. Sunday is the Hebrew word that Sunday is actually the word that we should not call it, but that's what Constantine worshipped. Constantine worshipped the sun. And Hashatan, or Satan, knows which day Sabbath is. Also noted by the Council's quote, which called the 7th day the Sabbath. The 7th day is not set by the ISO, this organization in Geneva. What they were doing, though, at this ISO thing, it's reshuffling the days of the week, and it's causing people in other countries, from the United States and Canada and Australia and Britain, all these, over half the world is following this new reordering or reshuffling of the days of the week. That doesn't sound like it's going to be a good outcome for them. The week is under attack. Hebrews 4, verse 4, if you open your scriptures, because that's where you check to see if these things are so. Preferably the Hebrew translation, which is the origin, because they have meddled with a few things in the translations. But Hebrews 4, verse 4, speaks about the 7th day being a day of rest. And it talks about it. It says the 7th day. And it's related to the very beginning of the earth, the creation. Every culture in all of history has the same 7-day week in order. It isn't like day 2 in some other place or in any record of any changes. There's been no record of anybody meddling with the 7-day week until recently. Every culture in all of history has the same 7-day week. even ones that had no contact with Rome or Greece, and certainly Persia. All these places in time had the 7-day week. That's because it was the original. Today, what's that noise? You're wondering about that? Those are roofers. The most dangerous job you could probably get, other than maybe driving on the highways or being a school bus driver. That's a dangerous job. But they're doing the roof. We've been waiting for this for months, and today was the day. And I just wanted you to enjoy that with me. Roofers. They're amazing people. They work hard. They work in the heat, and they get up on dangerous ladders, and they get up on roofs that are pitched like this. How do you do that? Well, they're roped off. They have safety harnesses. But it's hard work. Today, we see people teaching that this pattern of the 7-day week has been some kind of trick, and everybody's wrong suddenly. Well, here's 108 languages on the planet are directly named from a word that they derived for the 7th day in Hebrew. In other words, the word Shabbath, or what we call Sabbath, is in Spanish Sabado. And there's 108 languages that use the word in Hebrew that is related as closely as they can make it. They have all kinds of different alterations of the shuffling of the sounds, but it still sounds like Shabbath. And Shabbath is a Hebrew word that means rest. Cease, stop. In other words, get your body out of that workplace and rest. And it's a sign between Yahuwah and his people forever, because he rested. So whose Shabbat is it? It's Yahuwah's Shabbat. He's the claimer of the day. But we've seen cultures over time renaming the days, but not the order of the days. This is different. This is a new attempt since about 1949, when this ISO thing cropped up. They want international standards, and they conveniently decided to get the 7-day week reordered. They still have 7 days, but they make sure that it looks like Sunday is the 7th day, and it's not. Today we see people teaching that this whole pattern of 7 days is incorrect, but they cannot explain where and when anything occurred that ever upset the 7-day repeating cycle in all of the cultures at once, or even slowly. They didn't bother. They can't find the place where it was changed, but they claim it was changed. Now, we know that Constantine made the first day of the week, which was his day of the sun, a rest day for his empire. And it was called the Edict of Constantine. The Edict of Constantine. And it was on March 7 in 321 CE. Working on his day of the sun carried the death penalty. It was to honor a title, Sol Invictus, which was his deity, Apollo, and he's minted coins calling Apollo his companion. That's the sun deity of the Romans. Individuals and organizations. Let me repeat that. That was pretty noisy. Individuals and organizations, such as the ISO in Geneva, Switzerland. If you look up ISO 8601 in your browser, just ISO 8601, you're going to see the actual order that they're trying to implement. They have implemented, actually. And it's trying to meddle with the week, and they're fixated, or they're concentrating on confusing the names of the days too. They're trying to invent a whole new language, according to the Georgia Guidestones. They're going to invent a completely new language for all of Earth. But I don't think it's going to give them enough time to do that. However, we have to discern the difference between rejecting the pagan names for the days of the week and rejecting the pattern of the 7 days. I reject the names, certainly, of these pagan names of deities that we call the days of the week. They're actually saying it's so-and-so's day. And the next day is so-and-so's day. And the sun and the moon and Monday. Well, the idea is given to us from Scripture all over. But it's summed up in Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 21. Quote, "Test all things and hold fast to that which is good." 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 21. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next exciting video. Bye.